someplace that mattered to me.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, the only thing I could think, well, like with a graveyard or something, like if you wanted to come back and visit, like where your body was, or if you wanted to come back and visit, because your family comes there to visit you. But I don't really see the morgue having that same type of experience for that. But I don't know. Uh, I always do enjoy seeing the morgues, and if, like at Waverly Hills, I went and got in the body tray or whatever, and at Edwin Shaw I did that too, and so I think seeing it was cool, but I find I do get better things in other spots of the hospitals.
I think so too. But we have a question over in our Spreaker chat from Gwendolyn, who said, "What are some of the ghosts said to reside in the hospital in Ohio, the old Reed Hospital?"
Hey Gwen, uh, so from what I've heard about Old Reed, it's kind of became like a local hotspot for like people to go drink and things like that. I couldn't find too much on the haunting said to reside there, but you just find people like saying, "Oh, even the cops are afraid to go in that place," and things like that. Um, what I experienced there, what wasn't too much. Like I said, the basement area, I got that kind of sense of dread. I heard some things like sounded like something banging on metal or something like that. But other than that, like I haven't really found too much about that. Other than it's just a spooky place for that people like to go and uh, and drink and everything. Now at the Edwin Shaw Hospital, which is now demolished, at that place there was like an old tuberculosis hospital, and we had some really cool stuff happening there with like a rock getting thrown at us and things like that. Um, but but yeah,
Well, that's interesting. I've only actually seen a rock thrown once, and that was at an old bed and breakfast. It's really something when you see that.
yeah. Anytime, I guess it would be considered what poltergeist activity.
Yes.
Uh, Generally, from what I've experienced in my investigations, it's pretty rare, to see or to experience. Uh, but when it does happen, it'll definitely blow you blow you away.
Yeah. Well, it did
Uh,
the young man it was thrown at. I'll tell you that.
yeah.
So, nothing like
Did I
dodging
ever?
your ghosts.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you, or did you ever see the video where I went to Old Bryce and had something either thrown twice, and I could never find out if there was a person there or not. But I like was that Old Bryce or Jemison Centers is I believe like what people should call it, because the actual Bryce Hospital is technically was Bryce Hospital before what they call
Yes.
Old Bryce. But there's the room with the smokestacks. Some people say that people were cremated in there. I don't think that's true. Uh, I think it was just like a furnace area. But I was in that room, and I'm by myself, and I say, if you can throw this rock back at me, please do so. And I like throw the rock, and I'm just standing there, and you hear like something like kind of shift or something, and then you just hear this loud slam
Oh,
on like sounds like it came up from the roof.
wow.
And so I like jump, and like you said, I usually don't get shaken up or anything, but this made me jump. You can see it on the video. I like jump, and I'm like yo yo because I thought someone was out there messing with me. And then it happens again, the same exact loud slam. And I like go outside, and I searched around. And I stayed there for about 30 minutes. I went back in, nothing happened. I came out. I couldn't find any sign that people were there, but it had to be people because I mean it happened twice. Like I don't know. It was definitely one of one of those moments that just made me jump.
Well, it would just about have to. I mean, seriously. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know. I don't know what I would have reacted as if that had been something coming at me.
totally unexpected. I remember someone commented on it, and they were like, why did that scare you so much or whatever? And then they re-commented later, and they were like, okay, I thought about it, and if I was alone in a place like that, like I would have jumped too. I'm like, trust me, like it was totally unexpected, like
Uh,
real life jump scare.
well, we've got Frank Lee in the WBHM chat saying that's paranormal overload.
Hey
Yes,
Frank, what's up?
yes, it was.
Ooh, that's another thing that's coming up is the little conference in February 9th. I think Frank's going to be there and Kim, and
They both are,
uh,
yes.
that's going to be a lot of fun.
You know, I
Mm.
found it odd because I've been doing this in Alabama for a long time, and Frank had too, and yeah, all of us have. And I was completely not familiar with that person. So I think that that's going to be interesting to see because
Yeah,
there's not a lot of, yet there's so many of us. And I, of course, am not able to get there because, you know, yikes. But the the fact that somebody's putting something together like this is pretty cool.
yeah, exactly. I had never heard of him either. When I saw what was going on, and I saw that like Kim was going to be there and Frank and everyone, I was like, well, I know all these people, but I had never met. Uh, I guess his name's Dr. Graham, that's running it. So I still haven't met him. Um, I've watched some of his videos and whatnot, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how it goes for first year event and everything. Uh, Sorry if you can hear dogs howling outside.
Well, I'm glad that you said that because normally it's my dogs.
I just I
And
just
I am not
noticed.
kidding. So
Yeah, I apologize if you.
people are used to my dogs. I've had a running joke for 4.5 years with Kylie the Wonder Lab. So when she
Yeah,
barks,
my
the first
dogs.
person to comment gets her for a month.
My dogs are. That's my neighbor's dogs. My dogs probably joined in too, but they love to get in on any podcast or video that I'm doing. So
I think it's just wanting to be part of the pack, right?
yeah, the wolf pack.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
So,
actually do a little howl every once in a while on the live streams and what.
well, you know, when you're sitting out there in the woods, there's no better time.
Oh, exactly.
Or, you know, as far as timing and having a good time,
Hmm.
just being one with the woods out there.
Yeah,
But
that's one of my favorite places to be, honestly. And it's a place I feel very comfortable is out in the woods, even at night, which a lot of people don't. But
at night makes me a little nervous, but that's only because I had a possum sneak up behind me once, and they are not friendly. I don't care what
yeah,
anybody thinks. They do not make good pets, and they are not nice.
yeah,
So,
I ran into one the other day, and he didn't look too happy to see me, but he kind of just was sitting up in the tree, and he just kind of turned his head away from me, like expecting me to just not see him. And I was like, "We're cool, man. We're cool." But but yeah, my history with the woods is some cool stuff has happened. I got started going out in the woods a lot, of course, growing up and everything. But right when I graduated high school, I actually went out and attempted the Appalachian Trail. Um, since I had just graduated, it was a little late in the season, so by the time I got about halfway, it was already winter, and I had Walmart gear, so I had to come home.
oh
But
wow, definitely.
yeah, I wouldn't have made it. But in 2014, I actually got to complete a full through hike of the Appalachian Trail. So where some cryptid researchers, have a big background in like hunting and tracking, mine was a little bit different, which it was more of like long distance backpacking. Uh, I'm not a hunter myself, and I don't consider myself a hunter or a tracker by any means. I have learned from some great people like Jonathan Odom and Ken Patterson. They have taught me a lot about tracking and things like that. But my background in being out in the woods was a little bit different. It was a long distance backpacking and being able to go out and just live with a backpack and go as far as I can. And so through that, I started to on the Appalachian Trail. I would actually read stories about different cryptids all along the East Coast. One of my favorites was the man-eating rock up in Glastonbury Mountain in Vermont, and things like that. So, I had never really heard too much about Bigfoot being in Alabama, uh, and then I started looking into it more, and then I started finding more and more, and you can look online, and you won't find many sightings in Alabama. You'll find a decent amount, but the amount of sightings that aren't reported and aren't online is pretty insane. There's a lot of people that see, Bigfoot type creatures. They see what they call the Alabama white thing.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, there's stories about like the Wampus cats and big cats in general that are supposed to not be in Alabama. I've seen one of those myself up in Walker County. You have like the Walker County creature. There's a few little UFO, like there's like one famous UFO story, but there are a lot of UFO sightings in Alabama. I know that's not cryptid related, but even I've
Well,
had
people don't
experiences
know.
with that.
I
Well,
mean,
exactly. Like,
we don't know what's interrelated through this stuff because you cannot get full information unless you're actually standing there when one is there. And there's all this talk about Bigfoot being interdimensional and then related to extraterrestrials, and there's a
exactly.
lot of questions relevant to that.
And that's one thing about me as a cryptid researcher. I'm very open-minded. Like I like to take a look at all the different angles. Some people are strictly flesh and blood. Some people are strictly what they call like the woo side or like the paranormal side. But I like to take it all in. And I mean, who's to say that they aren't both, flesh and blood and supernatural or what we consider supernatural? Because, like you said, there's stories where UFO sightings are intertwined with Bigfoot sightings, and in one of John Keel's books, he actually has a story where someone actually saw a Bigfoot type creature getting on a UFO. So you have things like that. Uh, One of the experiences I'll tell you about that I had in Talladega National
Oh,
Forest.
well, I'm going to stop you because this sounds like it's going to be good and we're at a break. And I don't want to miss a second, and I don't want you to have to stop in the middle of it either. So
Sounds good.
this is only 2 minutes, and y'all come on back, and we're going to get this story because I know it's going to be awesome.